Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube video, and this is, and this I'll be reviewing. I'll be reviewing day one of official racing action this weekend for the 2023 Rolex Australian Formula One Grand Prix, which happened yesterday. Obviously. So in this one, I'll be reviewing obviously all the practice sessions for F1, F2, and F3. I won't be doing supercars because I'll be doing a separate review after this weekend. So I'm not going to do them. So yeah. I'll firstly get into Formula One. So I'll read just the full results from both the practice sessions for Formula One. Bring this laptop here closer to me so I can read them out. So of course, finishing fastest in FP1 was of course Max Verstappen. As you can tell, this new hat I got it from me my aunt and uncle got it for me, of which I know they watch this video. So thanks for that. You can see Oscar Piastri. I want everybody to this week for the rest of the weekend get around Oscar much as we can basically. But yeah, so Verstappen ended the session faster at a time of 1:18.790. The only driver in FP1 to get into the 18s. Lewis Hamilton was second. Sergio Perez in third. Fernando Alonso in the Aston Martin in fourth. The two Ferraris, Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz in fifth and sixth. Lando Norris from McLaren here in seventh. Pierre Gasly in the Alpine in eighth. George Russell in ninth, and Lance Stroll in rounded out the top 10 there. Outside the top 10, you have Alex Albon in the Williams in 11th. Oscar Piastri had a pretty decent first session at Albert Park in P12, just under a second behind Verstappen. Nico Hulkenberg in the Haas in 13th. Nick De Vries in the AlphaTauri in 14th. Logan Sargent didn't do too bad in 15th, although his session was cut short due to his car stopping on track, which meant that FP1 had to be cut short. Esteban Ocon in the other Alpine in P16, Yuki Tsunoda in 17th, Valtteri Bottas and Zhou Guanyu in 18th and 19th, and Kevin Magnussen was the slowest of the runners in FP1 in 20th position. And then in FP2, obviously, which ended obviously in wet conditions. In wet conditions at the end of the session because of the rain. Fernando Alonso ended up quickest in that session at a time of 1:18.887. Charles Leclerc ended up second. Max Verstappen ended up in third. Fourth was George Russell. And fifth was Carlos Sainz. And then sixth was Esteban Ocon. Seventh was Sergio Perez in the other Red Bull. Lando Norris in 8th, Nico Hulkenberg in 9th, and Pierre Gasly rounded out the top 10 in that session. Outside the top 10, Yuki Tsunoda in 11th. Valtteri Bottas improved slightly in his from his FP1 outing in 12th. Lewis Hamilton in 13th. He didn't get a good lap in before the rain actually came down. So he was stuck down in P13. Oscar Piastri rounded out his first day with McLaren in the McLaren at Albert Park in 14th. Zhou Guanyu improved slightly with his Alfa Romeo in 15th. Lance Stroll in P16. Nick De Vries in 17th. Alex Albon in 18th, and Kevin Magnussen was in 19th, the last of the runners to set a lap in, because obviously Logan Sargent didn't compete in that, because it was revealed that the reason why he stopped his car at the end of FP1 was because of an electrical issue with the car. So the Williams team had to sort that issue out, which meant there was no running for Logan Sargent in FP2, which was no use anyways, because the last third of the session was under wet conditions, so there was no use, there was no disadvantage for him. Coming out of those both of those sessions, obviously, a couple of things I didn't mention out of that was Verstappen had a pretty scrappy. I'm gonna take this hat off, by the way. Of course, Verstappen, of course, from what I heard, was a pretty scrappy session. Spun out not a lot, but a bit, infamously called spun out at the exit of turn 4. Which, by the way, I don't know, anybody in the comment section down below could provide information on this. For some, I don't know if it's just me, but I don't know if the inside wall at turn 4 has shifted in. Has gotten closer. Not at the exit between turns 4 and 5. Obviously, that's been close. It's been close ever since Albert Park's been a thing. But I might have to check out the race highlights for the last year's race again and look at that section specifically, because I feel like the walls have been brought in at turn 4. If you guys know what I mean. So I think that's so it was, he got caught out on the curb. Max got caught out on the curb and spun it around, and it didn't hit the wall, and just went on. Wasn't the only one to make a few mistakes. Infamously, Yuki Tsunoda had a wild ride into turn 1. Nearly ran to the wall and nearly flipped his car, mind you, on the gravel. But he got out of it, and he ended up finishing the session anyways. And in FP1, and also in FP1, there was actually a GPS issue. A GPS issue that caused the first red flag, because there was a lot of traffic issues in FP1 I don't know. I think it was also in FP2, if I can remember rightly as well. There was a lot of traffic issues as well, where people were sort of tripping over each other. And apparently I've heard from, because I'm watching this on Channel 10 as well, and I'm watching this via the Channel 10 commentary team. I've heard that there's been a lot of that in the first two races at Bahrain and at Jeddah in 2023. There's been a lot of that. Yeah, so yeah, that's from what I've heard. That's happened. That drivers tripping over each other has happened a lot in the first sort of races in 2023. First initial race of the season, and not surprisingly, it's happened again this year. So in this race, here at Albert Park. So yeah. But other than that, not much to report really. Not much really to report. Not many major accidents from my memory for the first free race session. I did watch a bit of a snippet of the first free practice session via my phone at work when I was having a bit of a break. Caught a little bit of it, but not much of it, obviously, because I was at work and all that. But I did watch most of FP2 when I got home from work. Well, pretty much about 90% of it anyway. So yeah. So Hamilton, so Verstappen and Alonso ended up quickest in those practice sessions. In those practice sessions. Moving on to Formula 2. Obviously, and it's the first time in the Australian Formula 1 Grand Prix history that we have F2 and F3 here at Albert Park. So it's a bit of a learning process for me. I've heard a little bit about Formula 2, obviously, ever since, Oscar Piastri obviously won both Formula 3 and Formula 2 championships back-to-back in 2020 and 2021. And then obviously a lot of other drivers have graduated from F2 to up the Formula ladder to Formula 1, obviously, like of Leclerc, Norris, Russell, even like Mick Schumacher previously, but he's not in Formula 1 this year. They've also in there as well. So, and as I said, it's the first time they're here at those cars are here at Albert Park. So it was a bit of a learning experience for me in that front. So the practice. So the funny thing is, there's only one practice session and one qualifying session for F2 and F3. For that sole free practice session, the hometown boy, Jack Doohan, the son of 4-time 500cc world champion Mick Doohan, he ended up quickest in that one. And also, sorry if I butcher some of these names. I don't watch F2 and F3 regularly, so I might butcher some of these. Then Hadjar finished in second, Martins in third, Jack Crawford in fourth, Enzo Fittipaldi in fifth. Oliver Behrman in sixth, but it wasn't without its issues. Later in qualifying, he did crash. He did crash. Like a Shane Van Gisbergen type of crash, but I'll get to that in a bit. Iwaza in seventh, Maloney in eighth, Vorshaw in ninth, and Bochelong in 10th position. There, Miney in 11th, Hoya in 12th. I'm learning these names as I'm going through these right now. Stanek in 13th, Theo Porcher in 14th, Arthur Leclerc, the younger brother of Charles Leclerc, in 15th. Cordial in 16th, Vesti in 17th, One Manuel Correa in 18th, Benavides in in 19th, Novalak in 20th, Roy Nissany in 21st, and Davala in 22nd place in that practice session. In qualifying, it was pretty much a full wet qualifying session. Iwasa, of course, qualified on pole, because the format is basically this. So Iwasa will qualify on pole for, I would assume, the feature race. Because I think either I think that he'll qualify on pole for the feature race, but the 10th position, which is Hoyga, I think starts on pole for the sprint race, which is going to be on very soon as I'm recording this. So Iwasa in first, alongside Theo Porcher and Martins, both the RT cars in second and third, which both of them got poles in the first two races at Bahrain and at Jeddah. Hadja in fourth, Zach Maloney in sixth, Oliver Behrman. As I said, he did have that crash in qualifying. Which was legit. It was like the Shane Van Gisbergen crash in supercars, where he spun out at the back side of the track at the back of the Albert Park Lake. Sort of like that, but obviously he damaged his front wing and that, and obviously recovered to that to qualify in sixth. Arthur Leclerc in seventh, Mani in eighth, Jake Crawford in ninth, and Hoyja to finish in 10th, but will have, I think he would have pole. Someone please comment for me in the comments about the format. I would assume Hoyja will probably have pole for the race as I'm recording this. Probably as this video goes out, probably the race would be over. So yeah, and then Iwasa will probably start from pole tomorrow for the race for the feature race, which is on Sunday morning, I would assume. Boshalong is 11th, Dalavala is in 12th, Vesti in 13th, Roy Nissany in 14th. Shockingly, after finishing top in that sole practice session in the dry, Jack Doohan had literally no pace at all. Well, he did show pace in the earlier part of the session. Unfortunately, he didn't show it in the latter half of the session. He ended up qualifying in 15th. Enzo Fittipaldi ended up behind him in 16th. Stanek in 17th. Vurshaw in 18th. Novalak in 19th. One Manuel Correa in 20th. Cordial in 21st, and Benavides ended up at the back of the field in 22nd position. So there was not much really because I didn't watch F3 practice, F2 and F3 practice sessions because obviously, as I said, I was at work, so I couldn't watch them really. So yeah, and then now I'm gonna butcher. This is probably gonna be worse than this. This is probably gonna be worse because I have no idea how to pronounce these names. So for F3 wise, in practice, O'Sullivan ended up quickest in that session. Boyer in second, Saucy in third, Marti in fourth, Bortoletto, I think they say in 5th. Browning in 6th. Mani in 7th. Barta in 8th. Fornaroli in 9th, and Aron it rounded out the top 10 there. Begovic in 11th. Tusalov in 12th. Yanni in 13th. Only just got that right, by the way. Colette in 14th. Christian Mansell, one of a couple of Australians in the F3 field, in 15th. Gofi in 16th. Montoya in 17th. Colapinto in 18th. Colin in 19th. And Barnard in 20th. Outside the top 20, Frederick in 21st. Villa Gomez in 22nd, Bedrin in 23rd, Flourish in 24th, Gray in 25th, Woznicki in 26th, Faria in 27th, Edgar in 28th, Tommy Smith in 29th, the other Australian in the field, and Garcia rounded out the field in 30th position. I hope that I got those names right, hopefully. As I said, I don't watch much F2 and F3, so it's a bit of a learning experience for me in terms of F3 and F2 now that they're finally here at Albert Park, and there will be for many years to come. So moving on to qualifying, I don't know if they have the same same format as it is for F2, where the guy that qualifies 10th would start from sprint race. I would assume starts from the sprint race pole, and then the guy actually qualifies fastest in qualifying actually starts on pole for the feature race. I don't know. I said it so many times, I'm going to say it again. It's a learning experience for me, really, on that front. Bortoletto did qualify quickest in that one, which means he will be on pole for the feature race. Saucy in 2nd, Mini in 3rd, Fornaroli in 4th, O'Sullivan in 5th, Aron in 6th, Colapinto in 7th, Begovic in 8th, Browning in 9th, and Colette to start, I would assume, started on pole because the F3 sprint race already happened as I'm recording this. So yeah, on that front, 11th was Gopi. I don't, or maybe top 15. I think. I don't know. I might have to check this out. I think because I said so many times, I'm gonna say it again. I don't watch much F2 and F3, so I don't know much about the formats there. So yeah. So go Fee in 11th, Montoya in 12th, Christian Mansell in 13th, Edgar in 14th. Tuslov is 15th, Boyer in 16th, Frederick in 17th, Barnard in 18th, Villa Gomez in 19th, and Bedrin in 20th. Outside that, you got Gray in 21st, Barta in 22nd, Cohen in 23rd, Flourish in 24th, Farina in 25th, Yanni in 26th, Woznicki in 27th, Tommy Smith in 28th, and Garcia rounded out the field in 29th position. There was 30 riders here. There was 30 riders. I don't know who was missing. But I'm not gonna get into the missing bit. So and of course I didn't watch qualifying either for F3 because I think it was during that time when I was at work, so I couldn't watch it and that sort of stuff. And so that was a sort of a quick as possible review on the Friday action at Albert Park. I will be tomorrow morning. I will be reviewing the Saturday running, of course, with the final with practice with the final 3 practice sessions of Formula 1 and, of course, qualifying. And then, obviously, with F2 and F3, there's the sprint races for F2 and F3. So there is plenty to go through for here over at Albert Park. So like this video, share to anybody who is a Formula 1 fan or is an Oscar Piastri fan. Everybody, please get around Oscar Piastri this week for the rest of this weekend. I think he needs all the support he can get. Even if you're previously a Daniel Ricciardo, still you are a Daniel Ricciardo fan. Please jump on the back of Oscar Piastri. I think he needs it this weekend. And comment down below. Comment down below because I'm going to be releasing this trying to release this before qualifying. Who do you think? Who's your tip for pole position? Do you think it'll be Verstappen? Do you think it'll be Alonso? Do you think it'll be Leclerc or somebody else? I'd love to hear your opinions. And lastly, somewhere down there, click on the big red button which is labeled subscribe. But until next time, guys, I'll see you guys later, and wherever you may be, may the sun or the moon shine on your favourite rider this weekend here at Albert Park.